Well, hello, and we're continuing our journey through Ecclesiastes. We're now in chapter 7. And it starts off well, but he soon descends into his cynicism, or ultra-realism, if you like, or hard realism. But anyway, let's read it, reading from the NIV, chapter 7, starting at verse 1. A good name is better than fine perfume, and the day of death better than the day of birth. See what I mean? First bit, you could find it in Proverbs. But then the day of death is better than the day of birth. Well, that cheers you up, cheerful thought for the new year, eh? It's better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting, for death is the destiny of everyone, and the living should take this to heart. Frustration is better than laughter, because a sad face is good for the heart. Heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of the fools is in the house of pleasure. It is better to heed the rebuke of a wise person than to listen to the song of fools. At the crackling of thorns under the pot, so is the laughter of fools. This too is meaningless. Extortion turns a wise person into a fool, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. Do not say, "Why were the old days better than these?" For it is not wise to ask such questions. Wisdom, like an inheritance, is a good thing, and benefits those who see the sun. Wisdom is a shelter, as money is a shelter, but the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves those who have it. Consider what God has done. Who can straighten what he has made crooked? When times are good, be happy. When they're bad, consider this: God has made one as well as the other. Therefore no one can discover anything about their future. In this meaningless life of mine I have seen both of these, the righteous perishing in their righteousness, and the wicked living long in their wickedness. Do not be over-righteous, neither be over-wise. Why destroy yourself? Do not be over-wicked, and do not be a fool. Why die before your time? It is good to grasp one and not to let go of the other. Whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. Wisdom makes one person more powerful than 10 rulers in a city. Indeed, there's no one on earth who is righteous, and no one does what is right and never sins. Do not pay attention to every word people say, or you may hear your servant cursing you. For you own your heart that many times you yourself have cursed others. All this I tested by wisdom and said, I am determined to be wise. But this was beyond me. Whatever exists is far off and most profound. Who can discover it? So I turned my mind to understand, to investigate, and to search out wisdom and the scheme of things, and to understand the stupidity of wickedness and the madness of folly. I find more bitter than death the woman who is a snare, whose heart is a trap, whose hands are chains. The man who pleases God will escape her, but the sinner she will ensnare. Look, says the teacher, this is what I have discovered. Adding one thing to another to discover the scheme of things while I was still searching but not finding. I found one upright man among 1,000, but not one upright woman among them all. This only have I found: God created mankind upright, but they have gone in search of many schemes. So there we have it, and this chapter is quite a mixture. So it's got some sort of proverb type stuff in it, and then it's got other things, some of which we maybe can't understand at all. Other bits think, well, that doesn't sound very good. So he starts off by saying the day of death is better than the day of birth. Why is he saying that? One, he's saying about the suffering that life inevitably involves. When the day of birth comes, you've got the suffering all lies ahead of you. When the day of death comes, it's all over. And the house of mourning is better than the house of feasting. It says, for death is the destiny of everyone. We have a habit of an inclination to avoid death, to avoid thinking about it. This is one of the key messages that kind of comes through Ecclesiastes is that facing up to the reality and inevitability of death is essential if we're going to understand life properly. Otherwise, we're living in cloud cuckoo land. It says, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, the heart of fools is in the house of pleasure. And then it's got kind of a proverb saying, it's better to hear the rebuke of a wise person than to listen to the song of fools. Paul has said that you cannot understand everything by wisdom. He's very clear that wisdom is better than folly. He says, receive rebuke of a wise person is better than flattery from a fool. He says, extortion turns a wise person into a fool, and a bribe corrupts a heart. Financial sin in any way has a deep effect on us. It corrupts us. As the end of a matter is better than its beginning, patience is better than pride. Being patient is a very good virtue, and a very powerful virtue. It says, do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for the anger resides in the lap of fools. Acting rashly or quickly or just out of anger can lead us into doing all sorts of stupid things. It says, do not say, why were the old days better than these? It's not wise to ask such questions. We can always think things were better in the past. I mean, wisdom is like an inheritance, is a good thing. Wisdom is a shelter, money is a shelter. He said earlier that wealth, you can't find the answer to everything in wealth. It's an uncertain thing, is wealth. You can lose it all. It can... But he's still clear that wisdom and indeed wealth are good things. If you make an idol out of them, that's when the problems arise. It says, consider what God has done. Who can straighten what he has made crooked? So it then goes on to say, what's it mean by this? Well, he goes on to say, we accept the good times as well as the bad times. When things are good, be happy, enjoy it. But when times are difficult or times are bad, so that God has made this as well. So accept it, cope with it, deal with it. He says that I've seen this, the righteous perishing in their righteousness, the wicked living long in their wickedness. If you have a very simple moralistic view of life, you say if you do right thing, you'll do better than if you do wicked things. Which sometimes works, but other times it doesn't work. It seems that the wicked are better off than the righteous. And it says a very strange thing, do not be over righteous. Do not be over wicked. Do not neither be over wise. What is it, making idols out of these things? If you say, well, I'm going to make myself right with God by being so righteous, you'll end up like a Pharisee. It won't work. And then it says, do not be over wicked. And then it finishes out, whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. I can't remember who it is. Is it Dickens or is it someone in Proverbs? Moderation in all things. Someone says, I can't remember who it is that said that one. Just avoid all extremes. Something. If the church or an individual is going to extremes, then be wary of what's happening. It is quite likely that they're heading into error. It says, whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. It says, wisdom makes one wise person more powerful than 10 rulers in a city. So he's very clear that wisdom is a good thing. It makes you more powerful than other people. It says, and it's very true, we can all agree with this. It's fundamental to the gospel, if you like. There is no one on earth who is righteous, and no one who does what is right and never sins. And then very practical advice. Do not pay attention to every word people say about you, or you may hear your servant cursing you. What do they think of me? What do they say about me? It's a fool's way to go, that. Because see, sometimes in your heart you have cursed other people. You've had perhaps unworthy thoughts about others. Well, some people have had unworthy thoughts about you. It happens. So don't go about what people are thinking about you all the time. And says that all this I tested my wisdom. I said I'm determined to be wise, but this was beyond me. So I turned my mind to understand, to investigate and search things out. And then gives a warning, which again you might find you do find this sort of thing in Proverbs. More bitter than death, the woman who is a snare, whose heart is a trap, whose hands are chains. The immoral woman in Proverbs is presented as a supreme danger. and we need to watch it. And then he goes on to say something which might get to the backs of some people. Says, I found one upright man among 1,000. Says, hardly any upright men. And then goes on to say, but not one woman. I don't quite know why he says that. And obviously, women, the notion that women are always better than men is equally garbage. But it says, this only have I found. God created mankind upright. They've gone in search of many schemes. God created us, mankind, as good. And then we've gone in search of many schemes. We said we go our own way. We don't need you, God. We say we'll decide what's right and what's wrong. And that's why we get in such a mess, both individually and as the whole human race. So say this chapter, it's got some stuff which we can readily appreciate in here. It's got some of the sort of harsh realism. And then things like, not a single upright woman have I found. Well, I'll just leave that with you. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but we'll just leave it as it is and leave you to ponder it. Give you a thought for New Year if you want. Anyway, we're on to chapter 8 in the next of these talks.